So, AireCon.
Yes.
So I'm here with Joe. Welcome to Homoludens, the channel on history and board games. And this is a video debrief of the AireCon convention that happened in Harrogate. When are we?
March 2024.
March 2024. It was the weekend from the 15th to the 17th
Yes,
of March.
it's the 18th today. Yep.
Yeah. And yeah, it was great. The reason we were here in Harrogate is maybe a bit of a, I don't know, it was an experiment because AireCon is traditionally a convention for Eurogamers, I would say mostly, or
yeah, more broadly as well, kind of more mass market board games, I suppose.
Yeah.
American board games as well, not just
yeah, that's true. So just it's a general board gaming convention, and usually you don't have tabletop war games over there.
No.
And the idea for us was to come over there, have a booth, and introduce people to historical board games and war games in general. And we had no idea if it would work. And we have to thank Rodney for putting us in contact with Mark, the organizer of AireCon. Mark, super nice guy.
Yeah, really lovely, really nice.
He's really tall.
Like, he's very tall. Yeah, he's very tall. But yeah, very kind, very helpful. It was lovely to meet him. Very organized. A
quiet force, I would say in French. So very nice, very helpful. And they lended us a space for us to do this experiment this year and check if there would be interest in the audience, but also if we could actually pull it off. And the plan was all of the 3 days have two games in the morning, 2 games in the afternoon that were fully facilitated. So for each of those games, you would have someone teaching the rules to people who would come to learn the game and facilitate the whole game for new players to actually discover what historical games are, what war games are, and see if they might be interested and realize maybe that it's not that different from what they already know, but it actually engages with history in an interesting way. And the result was actually pretty surprising, I would say.
It was excellent. I think all of our sessions were pretty much fully booked.
Yeah.
And lots of interest. So we also have drop-in sessions, so people could come by if they saw the stand and come and play a game, something like 13 Days or Red Flag Over Paris or the Battle of Versailles, which was a big hit. You can drop in and play a game. And that was great. Yeah, we had those were not always full, but pretty busy. People coming by. And yeah, we should say as well, it wasn't just me and Fred teaching all these games. Me and Fred, even though we're very talented, can't actually teach between 2 to 4 games all at once, non-stop. So we had quite a good team, several other people. Yeah, we had quite a few people that helped, and that was really awesome. So Peter, who's also a colleague at GMT, was here to help. That you might have seen in the PunchCon debrief video already. So he's part of the Homoludens extended cinematic universe. He might have a spin-off. Who knows? We also had Luke. So you might have seen Luke in other videos. I usually take shots of him while he thinks I'm taking a picture. So you might have seen him. Very still.
You might have seen him in other videos, especially the ones with Matilda on Pack Spanning. We also had Joe Clyne, so the other Joe, the youngest of all the Joes.
Youngest, very tall as well.
Very tall,
almost as tall as Mark.
Yes, and it's uncanny how tall he is.
I was surprised. I thought he's young, he must be small, that's how animals work.
Yes,
exactly. He was very tall.
Yeah, very tall. He doesn't fit in the beds that we have. No. He's really too big. But anyway, he was here. You've also seen him on the show. And we had Pierre.
Pierre wasn't officially a member of the team. Pierre just came along, joined us. He stayed in the same house as us, and
he was basically a freeloader.
Basically a freeloader, and hung out at the stall all day, helping out, but not officially a member of the team. So,
exactly. Yeah. So that's my bad. I thought he was going to come to the convention with a friend to enjoy the convention, but I didn't understood that he was actually coming to help out. So he actually had to buy his own ticket, and he did in the end actually help us quite a lot. So I feel bad for him, and I will make it up to him. I'm really sorry, Pierre. But it was great. So 3 days of teaching historical games and war games to an audience that usually doesn't play those games was actually super interesting.
Yeah. One thing which is interesting, so they don't usually play these games. We had a few people though who might have bought one of these games and hasn't yet found out how to play it, found it a bit scary to engage with, and then we could teach it to them, and then they can go home and play it themselves, which I think is a really nice
which was really cool. And I think I had this, for example, when I did the demo of Commands and Colors Medieval, because actually a lot of people knew already Memoir 44, but first of all, Memoir 44, not all of them had played it, they just had heard about it and everything. And they knew, some of them, that there was an extended series of it, but it felt daunting. And the idea was like, well, it's actually not that hard. I even taught the basic to a very young kid that was more into figurine war games.
Yeah.
And he was like, oh, that actually looks really cool. Like, and it was like, yeah, it's a bit more like focused, because you don't have to put out a ruler and have area impact. It's actually a bit more clean in its system and everything. And it was really fun to engage with different types of players like this. Yeah. And when I told them about how wide the range of command and colors was, people were really surprised, like how many topics it was covering. And I was explaining them how the different systems actually slightly changed the rules for it to fit a bit better the era. And yeah, it created a lot of interest. So it was really cool to, different kinds of players. Some players were, more from the Euro side of things, but I think also resonated really well with games like, I think Maria was a big hit.
Maria was a big hit, yeah.
Versailles das Volk was also quite
we
a
had
success.
4 people for that. Peter bravely taught not just basic Versailles das Volk, but Versailles das Volk 2+2, which was, very brave thing to do, very good. I think it went well.
It looked like it went pretty well.
There was one standout hit, though, for the weekend.
Oh, for me, the standout hit for the weekend was, Vote for Women.
Votes for Women. So we had one scheduled session of Votes for Women on Friday.
Yeah.
But while we were teaching this, we had maybe 6 to 8 other people come along and say, this looks really cool, what is it? Can I learn to play it? So we ran it again in the afternoon, and then we decided to keep Votes for Women out as a drop-in game for most of the weekend. So we probably taught it 3 or 4 times to different groups. And lots of people were very excited about that one. So good work on that.
Yeah, Tori, good game for us. So thanks for creating such a really cool tool for us to introduce people into historical gaming. We also had sometimes people that had learned the game just sitting on the side of the table and just playing our copy. That was just really cool. That's and nice. People were just dropping by, hovering around, looking at it. So that was really cool. Yeah. I think that Battle of Versailles was also having that attractive visually. People played it less, but a lot of people were interested in it. I think the way it looks on the board, and people were really surprised that wargamers will demo a game about fashion also. So that was really nice, and I think it was also a good way for us to show that, well, there is a range of historical games that you can engage with. A lot of them share the same DNA, but they might talk about very different things. So that was cool. I was happy to bring back the giant copy of Red Flag Over Paris that we made for class Wargames. So that was really cool.
Fred would teach a game to somebody, they've never heard of this game before, and then he'd turn to them and say, have you heard about the censorship variant? They haven't even taken one turn yet. He had laminated sheets of the censorship variant. He was handing them out to strangers, to children passing by.
Had you heard about the censorship variant?
It was a bit creepy, honestly.
And actually I accepted, I took on me to not demo the game with the censorship variant, but it was really hard. I was looking at the beer, I was like, oh my god, it's so much better. Have you heard about it? But no, I did the right thing and taught the simpler version of the game.
And you were able to teach chess to a few people, which is very good. You had Chess of Robin Hood, maybe one of only 2 or 3 copies in the UK.
2 copies, because you have one, I have one. I think we're the only 2 with a copy in the UK. And we originally just brought the copy because we wanted to play it with Rodney. The thing is that Rodney wasn't available because he was sick on But anyway, and so the copy was there. Some people just saw the copy and were interested, and what wasn't planned to be a demo session actually became a demo session, and we had a few drop-ins, a lot of also interest because, well, Chichu's art is...
It's wonderful,
quite wonderful. So of course it's a looker, so a lot of people drop by. But overall I think it was pretty awesome. I must say, I think the session that I enjoyed the most was probably my Napoleon 1806 session, because the people who came had no experience with war games, and they were playing a Napoleonic operational war game, which is not like obvious, and they had so much fun. That's great. It was like really great to see people who come with no necessary background in wargaming I made them play in teams instead of one against one, and so they were discussing, arguing, looking at their cards and strategizing, and it was so much fun. I think it was just a pleasure to watch them.
So I had a similar experience with the Cuba Libre game I taught. So not quite teams, but there are kind of loose teams, and these 4 players, I don't think they played any games in the series before. they all just really got into it, and it was one of the most social games I've ever seen. They were getting into character, they were scheming, they were plotting,
I heard a lot
they were
of
just
banter,
laughing, there were so much banter, they were having a great time. So I just left them to it. And they loved it. It was great. They didn't quite finish the game, but they said, you know, even though it didn't finish, it didn't even matter. They just had a great time. So that was really good. I think that social aspect and encouraging that was.
And you had those moments
brilliant.
and this is what I like to hear is that you hear the sound of a dice roll and everyone cheering on the table. And we had quite a few of those moments during the session. It was really cool. And I also had one during Washington's War, like last battle. Yeah. It was gonna be. It was a short game because they actually drew the 1779 end of war card in 1778.
Convenient, yeah.
And it came down to the last battle to see if the Americans would win the war, and it was on the last die roll, and it was it was so much excitement around it, and it was a couple playing, and it was really cool to see them like engage like this with the game. So it's a great reception. The drop-ins were, I think, an excellent idea.
Yeah, really successful.
And the selection of games that we came up with as a group, I think, was actually really good at showing that range. So I'm really happy with the overall outcome of this. And I think keeping that diversity of game is good to bring people in. So I think we'll keep that. It was a great experience. We also met quite a lot of cool people.
Yeah, loads of great people. Well, one thing I thought was nice actually was just some of the people who played a game would then come back. Just to chat, just to have a chat because they'd enjoyed it and they wanted to talk about other kinds of games and things. So that was really nice. There was people coming back again.
Yeah, we had quite a few people hanging around with us.
Yeah.
It felt like, hey, I'm the really cool friendly kid now.
And we met some people who might help us out in future, potentially.
So that was nice. I think Ava was one of them.
Yeah, Ava was really lovely and might help out.
That was really great actually to meet with her. The thing that I also enjoyed was the fact that we could still play a few games for our own fun during the weekend. Maybe one of the highlights for me was playing Molly House.
Molly House, we played Molly House with Joe Kelly, the designer, was there. That was lots of fun, really cool, really slick game now.
So I had never played it before. I only knew the topic. I knew nothing about the system because I don't read, so I never read anything about it.
It's sad.
Yeah, but the thing, so it was the first time for me playing this, and I really like it. I'm super excited about it being released. The thing that I told you, I think one of the things just to talk about the thought that we had is the thing that I struggled a bit with was that the game was so different from what I played before that it felt a bit opaque in the beginning for me to figure out, okay, how am I engaging with the game and other players? And as soon as it started clicking, like one step after another, I would realize, oh, wait a minute, that mechanic, I can do this. It's like, oh, interesting. And then it goes a bit further. It's like, oh, but when I'm doing this, I'm not just playing a card. I'm actually influencing that system that is going to potentially do that. And the game revealed itself gradually, and I was like, there is so much depth there. The theme is so unique. The way it implements all of those things makes a lot of sense, and I could tell like stories in my mind of who was Joe, who was Luke, and I was like, Luke, the snitch,
Joe,
the flamboyant.
Yeah, the most joyous, the most flamboyant, but quite selfish.
Yeah, quite selfish.
We played. I think there was this look of horror on Joe Kelly's face as we played, and you're meant to try and raise communal joy, and we didn't manage to raise it at all. There was no communal joy. I was, fabulous, joyous by myself, just flaunting it. And then there was a bunch of snitches, and there was just Fred just creeping along.
Yes, in the corner.
Yeah, but it was great. Yeah, really fun. Really good narrative came out of it. I ended up getting executed for being too joyous.
Yeah, too joyous. Exactly. It's like it was a bit too much for everyone. But no, it was
great.
Yeah, a lot of fun. I'm really looking forward to it. It was great meeting with Joe.
Yeah.
So that was pretty awesome. And then on the personal side, I also had my once every 2 year game of El Grande that I always play at AireCon with Mike from Ready Steady Play, and it was we had a lot of fun. I was playing with a designer actually, Tristan Hall, of an English designer that does some historical card games and fantasy games. So it was really cool to meet with him. I knew his games from before, and I was just playing with him, and we had a lot of fun. And then I realized, oh, actually, that Tristan. So that's nice.
That's the same experience people have with you, Fred.
Yes.
They think, oh, that's Fred Savell. He invented the censorship barrier.
Yes, exactly. That's what they say. It's like, are you the one? Yeah. That's exactly the experience.
Yeah. There's one other game we played as a team in the evenings, which I think was a real hit.
The hit of the weekend was definitely this game. I'll let you present it.
It's a classic. You know, we're not on the cutting edge here. In the evening, we play classic games.
Yes.
We played maybe six games of Medici.
Yes.
Which is excellent. Stone Cold classic.
Rainer Knizia Medici. A very historical simulation of
trading the Mediterranean.
Yes, trading the Mediterranean.
A classic topic.
Yes, classic topic. But yeah,
excellent game.
Excellent auction game.
And it was very nice actually to teach these heavier historical games during the day and then wind down with some very snappy kind of interactive games.
And just to chill out a bit, have a bit of relaxation, and also and just play something a bit lighter. Yeah. And Rainer Knizia is the master of making a light game that is actually involves making some pretty interesting decisions all the time.
Yeah, definitely.
And this one was really great. The other game that I actually quite enjoy, we only played it yesterday night at the pub to celebrate the weekend, was Pray Another Day.
Yeah.
And the story behind this one was really fun, is that I actually got the game because I met with Brett, one of the designer that was at the convention. I was introduced to him by Luke. We had played Village Rails, another game of his, on the train here. And I was like, oh, you're Brett, this game I really like and everything. And he was like, oh, cool. We had a nice discussion. And then I met him again. And we had another chat, and he was holding a box, and the box was very colorful and was called Pray Another Day. And it was actually his own game that he had just bought from a shop.
Yeah.
And he was explaining to me that, well, he didn't have a copy with him. His friends wanted to play it, so he actually went to the shop and bought a copy. And I was like, if a designer is ready to buy a copy of his own game himself, the game must be good. So I got a copy straight after that, and we played it at the pub yesterday night. I don't know how many games in a row, that 3-4 games.
3-4 games. Taught it to somebody at another table.
Yes, that was wondering about what we were doing, and it was like, and she was like, is this rock, paper, scissors?
And we thought for a minute and said, yes.
But fun.
Yeah.
And it's, that was for me also a good...
it was great, very good one.
We had a lot of fun.
In a very nice pub.
Yeah, the pub was amazing.
I can't remember the name now, but a really lovely pub in Harrogate. Yeah, nice town, nice pub.
So, Medici was a big hit, Pray Another Day was a big hit, and on the trick-taking side, I think that Rebel Princess was...
Rebel Princess, incredible, really fun. I used to be a bit so-so on trick-takers, you know.
Yeah, you changed your mind.
I can play them, but I didn't really understand how people can play hundreds of different trick-takers. But Joe Clyne, the other Joe, Tall Joe, is a big trick-taking, not just a fan, I'd say almost a fanatic.
He's a fanatic, but that's the thing of the late converts. They're always a bit more fanatical than the people who's been in the faith for so long.
Exactly.
So people like me who grew up with tarot, I'm a bit more moderate, and he's a fanatic.
But yeah, he's shown me that you can have these really interesting little twists on the formula, and they make some really fascinating games. So I can see it now.
And the amazing thing with Rebel Princess, I think in a lot of ways it's a very good introduction to the world of trick-taking, because all of the
each round,
all of the parties, all of the round is going to have a small twist on the basic trick-taking formula. So you actually can see that how a very small change can completely change the play experience of a trick-taker. In that regard, I think Rebel Princess does what trick-takers failed to do, which is another asymmetric trick-taking game from Japan. Rebel Princess, massive hit.
Yeah, really good.
What else did we play? I'm wondering about the other things that were cool. People we met. I talked about Brett, we talked about Joe Kelly, Ava.
Ava seems really nice, yeah.
Oh, I spent some time talking with someone, Jack Thornton, who was a designer from for me it's the old days of Games Workshop. So,
oh, really?
Yeah, he was a designer.
I don't have a name, okay.
Yeah, he was a designer on Warhammer Fantasy Battles. He did some work on Necromunda, actually.
Oh, I should have met him.
But I'm pretty sure we'll see him again.
Great.
Hopefully we'll see him in Manchester. He's from the north also.
Cool.
I'm pretty sure he would be at Manchester AireCon, and you need to talk with him. And then he actually left, I think, Games Workshop a few years back, and he made a lot of those big minis game that you had, like from Mythic Games. So like he make the game on Solomon Kane and a lot of stuff like this. So really, it comes really more from an Ameritrash fantasy wargaming kind of part of the hobby, but he's definitely heavily involved in tabletop war games, he's credited as one of the proofreaders on Combat Commander's first box.
So this is interesting, and I think there's some interesting
connections
here, because so one doubt I had about the name we gave a session, and we'll talk about this for future, is that wargames in the UK typically means miniature wargames.
Yeah.
But going back further, I think there's an interesting origin for miniature wargaming grew out of some of these other kind of tactical wargaming systems, and then there's maybe a reconvergence now and lots of crossover between
exactly things. And it was really fun to see that person that comes from traditional, what we would call war game in the UK, figurine wargaming, big figurines, not necessarily historical and everything. And actually you look back and it was like, he was involved in Combat Commander. Yeah. And it was really interesting, and it was great to, like, the culture that he has. Like, we're talking about games, and I was talking to him about Land and Freedom. That was also, like, interested quite a few people. And we're talking about this, and he talked to me about, like, weird 90s game from Sweden that were actually doing a bit some of the same ideas that I needed to play, and it was just fascinating talking to him. Like, such an interesting guy. And when I came out, I was like, okay, now I need to find that Swedish game. I need to print some translation to put on the cards and everything. And it gave me so much homework, but it was like really exciting. So that was really great to spend some time and meeting all of those people. That was, I think, for me, one of the highlights was a lot of the people that we got to meet during those sessions. And what else?
I think that's probably enough on the sessions. Big success. We could talk a bit about what we have planned next, the future. Yeah,
so we don't know yet. We just know that it was a lot more successful than what we expected.
I thought I was
worried.
I was pretty confident, but it was great. Went very well.
Maybe I was pessimistic because I was worried. I really thought that people wouldn't necessarily be interested in everything. I think I overestimated the fact that people are actually interested. They just think that it's daunting. So it was the perfect. We were answering with the perfect type of event to actually solve that. And the idea for us is, for me that was a successful experiment, and I think it was, like, we had a great time also with everyone from the team. And what we would like to do is actually keep on doing it, but formalizing it a bit better. So I was thinking about setting up a non-profit so we can actually receive donations from potentially shops, publishers, and everything. People who have like some sort of interest in us promoting historical games and war games in general, for the non-profit to actually be able to finance like booking a booth for conventions like this, because it's not free. It was free this time because Mark at AireCon is just so kind and really believed in this project, so that was really cool. But we also need to pay those people. This is the way they make money, so that makes sense. And the other thing is that I want to make sure that for the volunteers that come, we can pay for accommodation and travel, because people are already giving their time. We were just a bunch of friends, so it was great, and we wanted to make this experiment together. But in the future, if we want to make sure that we can have different types of people and everything, that it's a less of an investment, it would make sense that a trip and accommodation are paid for. And if we manage to do this, that would be really great. And having this, I think I want us to target conventions that are obviously not wargame conventions, but actually more general audience.
Yeah, wouldn't make much sense to do this at PunchCon, but we could do an introduction to trick takers at PunchCon.
Yes, that would be awesome. We could have a booth and say introduction to trick takers. That would be so cool. But anyway, that's a thought for another day. But yeah, so we'll do this. We'll see if we can do Manchester AireCon. That could be one of the targets. We're thinking about doing UKG in 2025. And honestly, I think we should probably think about doing Essen next year.
I'm more skeptical about doing Essen, but we'll see. Maybe.
The audience is there. Depending on which hall we are getting, it might not be too intense. And I think there are areas where it could actually work. And with a bit of the right promotion, it could actually, I don't know, it could... it could get some interest.
But we'll build up and see. We'll see what we can do.
But yeah, if you're a publisher and you're interested in what we've done, reach out. The only thing that I would say, and maybe my only concern right now, when I want to be open and transparent about it, is I think I'm going to seek out financing from publishers to this nonprofit for us to be able to do this. The only thing is that I want us to make sure, if we do this, that we can keep some sort of distance to make sure that we have...
But it's not just a GMT stand.
No, but then beyond that, I just want to make sure that the people that are taking part as a group have a say in the games that are being portrayed.
This is what I mean, really. Yeah.
Because I think the thing that I saw was really effective, the thing that worked in those sessions is that the people that were facilitating and teaching were passionate about the game that they were showing. They loved that game. And that love is like transmits to the people playing it. And I think it works really. And if you have like someone telling, oh, I need you to demo that game, that becomes a very different experience.
Yes.
And I don't want this to happen.
Yeah, and then it's more like we're a booth
for multiple publishers.
Yes, and we don't want to do this.
And I don't want to do this. So we're going to show games that are out of print. We're going to show games that are a bit weird. And I want us to be able to keep that. But at the same time, I think it benefits the hobby as a whole. So I think we should find a common interest overall. But it was awesome.
Yep.
I want to say to the team of people, including Pierre, that took part in this. Especially Pierre. I want to thank all of them for believing in this idea and doing such an amazing job. We had a lot of fun. And thanks, Joe, for actually making sure that when I dropped the ball, you were actually in the back saying, okay, I'm going to pick this up because Fred
plans ahead and CCs me into all of his correspondence, just in case.
Knowing that at some point I'm going to fuck up and forget something and Joe is just going to come in.
And then speaking of that, we should say thank you to Mark for being very understanding and patient with Fred.
Yes, that was very kind of him.
Yep.
And thanks again to Rodney for introducing us and also pushing the event during the week.
Yeah, he's been great promoting it. And one final thank you, I think, to everyone who came and joined Unpack Games. Because, if people aren't interested and willing to try something new, then
it just doesn't work.
So, and it was really great.
Everyone we made some really great people. So I was really happy to meet all of you. It was awesome, and we hope to see you again to play other historical games and war games.
Yeah.
Thanks everyone.
Thanks.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.